Hi, Bailey. Thank you so much for joining me this podcast episode. Really appreciate it. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, super excited. And yeah, just been great. And also wanted to do this podcast with you and learn more about like a growth mindset, how your perspective on it, and like how do you think about mindset and how we can preserve in like a growth side. So before we get to that, I'd love to know more about yourself. Like how did you become a coach yourself? And also I think like you do other profession as well. So if you
Yeah.
share a few things on that as well, that would be great.
Hey, yeah, of course. So, how it kind of started is I'm a hairstylist as well. I went to the university originally to become a psychiatrist, and then I didn't like my psychology teacher. So then I stopped doing school for a little bit because I was wanting to figure out what I was going to do with my life before I continued to pay to go to school, not knowing.
Mm,
And then I went to my husband, like we got married, so I helped put him through school. And then as he was going through school, I decided I was going to go do hair because I was already helping everybody cut their hair and things like that. So I just went to hair school, and then I've been doing hair for almost 5 years legally because I was
right.
doing it for a long time without. And so then just I mean, I feel like I already do life coaching as a hairstylist or counselor, right? Um, I always say that if people don't feel comfortable confessing their sins to their priest or to their bishop or to whoever they go, I'm the person that they come and confess everything to. So I know
Yeah.
everything about everyone. Um, but I've just recently even started going back to the university again to get my degree because I'm wanting to go towards counseling again.
Mm.
And I mean, it's definitely a huge circle to go and finish that, as I could have already gotten it done. But I think I like this way a little bit more because I've had a lot more experience and a bigger push as to why I want to help people. And so because that brought me to life coaching is I want to help people starting now because in the US, you have to have a master's degree to become a counselor. And so right now I'm finishing my bachelor's degree. And so I wouldn't be able to be a counselor for like another 3 years.
Yeah.
So I want to help people now, and I can't do that unless I have my degree. So being a life coach, I feel like is a great side way.
Mm.
And I love the difference in my eyes with a counselor and a life coach is that life coaches are focused on your future progression, giving you tools to do the future progression. Where when I've been to a counselor, they are focusing on what happened in the past.
Right. Okay.
Why are you focusing or like what happened to you in the past that's causing you to be this way now, and focus on working through the past, where some people focusing on the past, and this is how I was talking on the past kind of kept bringing it forward, so I didn't feel like I could move on
Mm.
and move forward. um and so for people that are like that, getting tools to move forward, I think is a great way. And that's what I love with life coaching is that it's focusing on the future. Like, who are you today?
Yeah.
Who do you want to be tomorrow? And how can we work on you today to become that person tomorrow? Like
Yeah.
that's the thing that I love with life coaching. So that's kind of where I came from, with going through a whole line of
Yeah.
different jobs and everything like that. But yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And how did you come up with the idea, like being a life coach though? Like, is that like where you working like as a hairstylist and everyone telling you their problems and you somehow figured out like you can solve their problem and you realize you can be a life coach? Is that something I'm
Yeah,
right with or
so
like a
so I
different thing?
had a I had one of my clients, sorry to cut you off. So I had one of my clients who told me that she had been going to a life coach
Mm.
instead and kind of taught me about what that was. Um and this was a few years ago because I've been working with her for a while, and because I was telling her about how I wanted to go to counseling or do counseling, and she's like, "Oh yeah, like I do a life coach." Because of these reasons. And so then I started looking into it. I've been looking into it for like a few years, doing a ton of research, trying to see what's the best way for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just was, I just got it thrown in my face and I never heard about it before. I feel like this is a new thing really
Yeah.
coming about. Or at least it's becoming more prominent and a lot more people are learning about it. But yeah, so I think that's I had never heard about it until my client had told me about it and then explained the
Mm.
differences, and I was like, wow. And then I actually have been work with a life coach, and it really is like a night and day difference of counseling versus life coach. So yeah, I think that's more like how it came about. Like, I didn't just come up with the idea.
Yeah.
Somebody had to give it to me. But
Okay, so all this happens, isn't it? Like universe opens up the doors for you and like it shows you the way like you should be going. It just like someone gives you the one idea, like one answers to like the questions you have. So yeah, that's interesting. And you're such a young age, like you figure out what you want to do. And life coach, it's not like young people take on. And a lot of people think like they're not gonna be like taken as seriously as they approach, but with your case it's different, which is like a great. And so let's talk about like a growth mindset. You're really advocate about it and you wanted to share that with our audiences. So what is a growth mindset in your point of view and how do you see it?
so I think that before I have gotten like any certifications or anything like that with life coach, I would have heard growth mindset and I would have thought like a really positive person,
Mm.
or somebody who doesn't let like things bring them down very well. And then I would have thought that a mixed mindset might be a negative person who like feels like the world is out to get them, things like that. Which, I mean, it's kind of close and similar, but as I've gone through like my certifications and things like that, I've learned that um it is more of you kind of stopping yourself. Like, it has nothing to do with the world out to get you, right?
Right.
It has everything with you out to get yourself. And I've also have like interpreted that growth mindset has a lot to do with the way, one, that we see ourselves, like, and like our identity, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the way that we identify is like, we're telling people, we say, I am a person who can't wake up in the morning.
Mm.
I'm a person who hates this, right? I was a person who hated school. I am a person who I can't ever get a new job, so I'm just going to stay. Like, that's kind of our identity, even though we don't take it on and verbally state that to every person we meet. Even though we're stating it, we are reaffirming that that is who we are. And that's a fixed mindset, right? Like, if we're saying, I am a person who can't wake up in the morning, that is totally been what I do all the time. Like, I try so hard, but I tell myself I'm not a morning person. I'm like, I can stay up all night. But then that reaffirms what I'm saying. So when I try to wake up in the morning earlier, I can't.
Mm.
And this can go for, let's say you're trying to become like quit smoking. Okay. If you are going and telling people like, yeah, I used to be a smoker, or if you're on your lunch break and somebody offers you a cigarette and you say, I used to be a smoker, or I'm trying to quit, then you're still keeping that fixed mindset that that was who you were,
Right.
right? Which, granted, it was, but when you have that fixed mindset and you say, I used to do something, or I'm trying to quit, you saying, giving the word trying still has the mindset that you aren't going to say you're done, because there might be a time where you go back to it.
Mm.
Right. I think that that is, if you have like any addiction or you're trying to get rid of anything, if you have that mindset that I'm trying instead of I will not, you're still allowing yourself to have a failure. And that is because it is a coping mechanism because of your self-confidence in your ability to stop.
Yeah.
right? And so mindset is also a really big thing with confidence. The more confident you are, the more that you're going to be okay with yourself wherever you fall, right? I believe that we come in wherever we're supposed to be at, and God helps us get to where we're supposed to be. But if we're not going to have him help us get further, then we're going to also keep ourselves stuck, right? With
Yeah.
that fixed mindset. So confidence plays a big role in the mindset or in a growth mindset. But I have learned that everybody has a fixed mindset.
Mm.
I hate feeling like a failure. Like, I get so embarrassed. I feel obviously like a failure. I feel like I should have just never tried it to begin with. Um, but that is the fixed mindset. And we all have it a little bit, right? It's a coping mechanism for everybody that if
Yeah.
we're going to fail or feel embarrassed, that we want to stay away from something like that. But with growth mindset, you're telling yourself, okay, I failed, but I learned this from it. So now I can just do something different about it to continue. And that is where the growth mindset comes in with confidence, is that you're like, yes, I failed, but I still did this. I was still great about it, right? You still have that strong confidence where you're able to tell yourself, like, I still accomplished something just different than what I had in mind.
Yeah.
Right.
Just focusing on a
Um,
good side of it, right? Like a positive
yeah.
aspect of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's like a big thing with growth mindset. And so um it's hard to get past that. People like to stay in their comfort zone.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that will say that they hate something even though they've never tried it. And why they hate it is because they feel like they won't be good at it. And
Mm.
because they feel like they won't be good at it, they're going to say, I'm not even going to try at it. So normally, the people that are really in a fixed mindset are people who overcompensate with the things that they're good at. Oh, I was so good at school. They constantly talk about it, right? Like whether they were stuck in high school or having good grades, like they constantly talk about it
Yeah.
because in their mind and with their confidence, they don't feel like they've done anything better than in that, and or that they can. So when you kind of get stuck in a fixed mindset, you can bring yourself further into that fixed mindset, getting more. And I've seen this since I've gotten married. It's easy to get comfortable and to not try to work on things. Like within the first few years of our marriage, like normally I was really outgoing. Like I
Yeah.
love going and meeting people. I still do. Like I love networking. That's one of my favorite things. But when we were first married, like I started feeling like I didn't want to go do that. I didn't want to go be with people. I didn't. But that was because I started telling myself that I get awkward with people. I
Right.
started telling myself that why would I need to go talk with people when I already have my husband and I have my family? I don't need anybody else. Why, like all these different things that got me into a rut. And I felt like, and then once I got myself in this fixed mindset, that I felt awkward with meeting new people, that I was scared to go and do all these new activities, or I felt, and this is a big thing. So with my husband, he has a great growth mindset, but he also was born with a lot of talent.
Right.
He can pick up a sport and he does great at it. I'm not that way. I'm a person that has to work very hard for all the things that I try to do. So
Mm.
because of that, I felt more awkward and like embarrassed
Yeah.
and felt like a failure compared to him. I didn't want to go try like pickleball, a new sport, because I felt like I was going to look stupid compared to him. And eventually I just had to tell myself, like, okay, you are making it that you're not having any fun anymore. And I was having no fun. All the things I used to love to do, I totally backed off on. Like hiking. I always had to be the first one to hike, but with my husband, I was like, I'm not going to make myself look like embarrassing, so you go
Mm.
before me. Like, and I just started to I made myself fall into a fixed mindset because I was comparing, right? And that is
Yeah.
again comes with confidence. Um, which is completely it's silly because
How do
what
you
my
build the confidence though? That's the main thing, isn't it? Like
yeah.
building the
Oh yeah.
confidence is like so important. A lot of people don't know how to do that.
No. So it's funny because the way that you gain confidence is through your failures.
Right.
It really is. Because if you don't have the confidence or if you can't teach yourself to be okay with your failures,
Mm,
you're never going to be confident with yourself.
yeah.
People talk about self-confidence all the time, right? And that could be an image, you looking at your image and being confident with that. But I think confidence goes way further than just the way you see yourself, right? It has to be the way that you work in and out of every day. You have to be confident in yourself to be okay to fail. And like some key words or like phrases you can like tell yourself to remember this is I learned this from my failure and I still gained something from the experience. Or just because I failed something doesn't mean that I am the failure, right? And that's something that we do with our identity. We claim those the bad stuff of ourselves and we restate that, right?
Yeah.
But because you failed at it, that doesn't mean that that failure is you, right? You still gain something from that failure, whether it was a new insight, you explored and you're like, oh yeah, like I like doing that, but I feel like I'd like this better. You know, you're still gaining, you're still learning, but it's not and growing confidence is not something you can do like overnight.
Yeah.
I think and for myself, like since I've gotten certified and like all these different things, I've been working on confidence stuff for a very long time. Because in my family, the way that we talk is again the fixed mindset, and we don't try things if we're embarrassed. We don't try like all those things. And we get very defensive about our failures and everything like that. So I've been working on a confidence mindset, honestly, probably since I got married with my husband, because he was so confident and he was so growth mindset. Um, but I just learned that I am a person who has to work harder at it, but I can still get the same achievement that somebody that was born with a better talent can get, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I think that comes along with confidence as well, is like you have to be like, okay, you have to have an honest evaluation with yourself. Yes, I didn't um have the same talent that so and so had, but if I practice really hard, I can get to the same place that they are.
Mm,
And but it has to be that I can, right? It's not that I'm trying to get where they are.
yeah.
Because if you tell yourself you're trying, again, you're still opening it up that you're like, yeah, I tried, but it's like if you keep it in the middle instead of I can or I can't, you won't make it that you're gonna get into that growth mindset, because the fixed mindset tries to protect where the growth mindset is okay to fail.
Right.
So I think a big thing with saying I can do this is reinstating your self's confidence to you, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
I can do this, and if I can't, I will try again until I can. You know, like it's okay to fail, but confidence, it's kind of crazy with what confidence plays a role in with mindset.
Mm,
um I don't think I realized what it did until I've worked with my clients. You know, like I hear some of their like where they're really strong at and confident at, but when people come to their things that they're not confident at,
yeah.
they retreat really hard. They go into the I try or I'm trying, um and they just don't try to go and learn new things because of where their confidence is at.
Mm.
Do you feel like you know how to work on your like how do you gain your confidence?
Yeah, like I said, like a failure, I have to push through myself. Right now, I'm building my confidence again. going to public places because right now diagnosed with a mania disease that gone to my panic disorder. So I panic like every time I go to hospital visit right now, I panic. Like if his wait is more than half an hour, if no one's with me, I panic. I feel like I'm gonna faint and everything. So I'm trying to do exposure therapy on my own. So
Hmm.
haven't been to hospital yet. But I felt like if I'm going to a grocery store, if I'm buying something and I have to stay on the queue, and if it's like it too busy, like a 5, 10 people ahead of me, I panic and my knees start to shake and I'm sweaty and feeling really, really weird. I feel like I'm gonna faint or I'm gonna feel dizzy and I feel like I'm gonna embarrass myself. So last few days I've been trying to do rather than focusing on that, like I'm going for a walk, I'm doing exercise at home and slowly I'm gonna build up myself, like rather than going for like a busiest grocery store, I'm gonna go like a where is no queue. I'm just gonna go grab one thing and just pay quickly and get out. Then slowly, like if it's slightly busier time, I'm gonna look for like when it's like slightly busy and not too busy. That time I'm gonna go and face my fears. So more I'm gonna face, the more confident I'm gonna build up, and then eventually I'm gonna come out of it. So I've been through time and time with this. Like I had anxiety attacks when I was like teenager. I dealt with it like 2 years. It's been there 6 months. I was on a medication because I lost both of my parents, and I've never been out on my own. Homeschooled and always going out with my mom and dad. So I never experienced like on my own environment. So I was panicking, I was scared, but I never had that kind of feeling I'm gonna faint or anything. My heart palpitation used to be really, really high and feel like really anxious and everything. But the more I did, I was like, no, I have to do it. Like I have no one else. Like that time I have no siblings, everyone in UK. I have no other people like can hold me through. Like all of my friends, they're like my age, like they teenager. They can't take me to hospital or they can do certain things like they can save me or anything like that. So I had to face my fears. The more I faced it, I think the more confident I got. The more confident I got, then our growth is came eventually. And this time, like with like a lot of medication side effects, affected my mental health really, really bad. So I have to go through the step again. I have
Hmm.
to be face them fears, like where the panic attack happened. I have to go and face it. Probably with my wife at the beginning, slowly everything will be fine. Then slowly, like on my own, the more time I can spend, and I think that way, like you can build up the kind of confidence. Same with the businesses. The business, the more you're gonna fail, the more win you're gonna get, the more confident you're gonna get. Like if you're in a coaching business, if you talk to more people, more failure you're gonna get, like a loss of rejection you're gonna go through. Eventually, you're gonna see like a lot of wins, a lot of clients you're gonna sign up with you, and the more win you're gonna see, the more confident you're gonna get. Like, and now you believe in yourself. Now every presentation you do, you feel like either way it goes, like I can talk to another people, I can close another deal. So you have like a more confidence. So yeah, like facing the fears, and I think like moving forward with it, that's the best way to finding your like growth mindset or like you can build your confidence.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. But I liked what you said, like how your repetition
Yep.
of doing it. So I think growth mindset can run in with a habit,
Mm,
right? Again, like a habit becomes our identity. So how you can create a habit in like 30 days,
yeah.
right? But you have to do it continually. Um, and so that's like one of my big pushes with my life coaching is like happiness in 30 days or 30 days to happy, is because you can totally create that habit that you want to help you become the person you want
Yeah.
in 30 days. But you have to have the mindset that, okay, I'm not going to get it the first day. I'm not going to get it the second day. I'm
Mm,
not going to get it the third day. But eventually, throughout that month, it's going to become a habit,
yeah.
right? It's going to become a part of who you are. It'll become repetition. And eventually, the more you practice that habit, your brain starts to make a stronger connection. So it just becomes a habit, right?
Yeah.
Because that, like, if you're driving and you forget where, like, you zone off, but your brain still keeps going to where you're supposed
Mm,
to go, right? Because
yeah.
it is a
Subconscious
habit.
mind takes over. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And so eventually that's where you want your persona or whatever thing that you're struggling with confidence, that's where you want it to get to, right? Even with you going to a grocery store, you want to just be able to go in, get your stuff, not be anxious, and get out, right?
Yeah.
And the more that you practice connecting those with being able to not be anxious going through, because even though we have good connections, you can still have bad connections. So sometimes if you keep connecting the bad or the fixed mindset or just things that are going to solidify your low confidence or anything like that, that's going to be stronger and harder to break through as well. So making sure that you're doing good connections to help strengthen the confidence instead of creating stronger bad connections are what will help somebody be able to move forward as well. Just making sure that, okay, today we're going to do this, tomorrow we're going to do this, but making sure that you're keeping it constant in your mind. Like it has to be a constant thing every single day. You're going to write down whatever you're wanting to do. You're going to read it in the morning, read it at night, practice it during the day. And then you're going to keep doing that for the 30 days because it has to become a repetition. It has to become just easy for your body to do without thinking, but you have to start thinking about it strongly to be able to make it that your brain doesn't think about it at all, right?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Bailee, for sharing those information with us. And yeah, we're coming to the end of this podcast. It's been a great conversation with you. So those listening, if anyone wants to reach out to you, learn more about yourself, where's the best place to find you?
Yeah, so I have an Instagram page and a Facebook page, all the pages. I have a web page, but I do have like the way you sign up and stuff is for sure with my webpage. So that's learnyourhappy.eclipse-systems. But I think if you just type in Learn Your Happy, it should start to pull up. And then I actually am going to be doing a deal once this airs to do the a week free or a week long for your listeners to sign up for a $19 or $10 off for the 30 days to happy. I get to work with you, kind of help create a stronger connection on who you're wanting to become, helping you work through either your confidence issue, because I focus on change, whether that's physical, spiritual, emotional. So whatever somebody's wanting to work on, I help you make a plan for that 30 days, and we'll do a 30-day challenge for you to get you to where you're going. So I have that's going to be 10 off for your listeners. So it'll be $19 for that week after. And then, so I'm super excited. Thank you so much for letting me come on. Again, my Instagram handles and stuff are Learn Your Happy. Like that's my biggest go-to is Learn Your Happy. So
yeah, thank you so much, Bailee, for coming to the show. It's been a great pleasure to have you. And yeah, I wish you best of luck with your business, your personal life. Also, like Christmas and New Year is coming. I wish you all the best for that as well. So yeah, thank you for coming by.
thank you so much.
You're most welcome. That's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast episode. I hope you got some value from it and enjoyed our conversation. So yeah, if you want to reach out to Bailee, go visit our website or reach out to their social media platforms. So until then, I'll talk to you in the next episode. Take care.